All right, YouTube Nation, what's going on? We've been out here in El Pasco just for about probably an hour, couple hours by now. But man, it's one of them kind of deals. You know, last week came in here and lightened them up. Now this is one of the two that we have. Been here a couple hours, and this is one or two of them that we have right now. So what we're gonna do is run back over to the corner here. And we're gonna set up the cork deal. You know, I moved away from that cork for a little bit. You know, got into that jig with the minnow on it, and that's producing pretty good. So what's going on now? The fish I caught last week had roe in them. You know, I was surprised to see that. So they had roe in them. I mean, I like, God dog, they got eggs in them already, and that's how it is. You might catch a fish in Westlake right now. They don't have eggs in them. But these El Pasco had eggs in them. I mean, even the small ones, that the 10 inchers, they had eggs in them. I'm like, dang, they get that small? They have eggs in them. So that was kind of something, something different to me. I mean, I never knew they were that, they could be that small, and have eggs and drop eggs too. So, I mean, in the fish world, they should make sure the population stay plentiful, and they put the young females to work early. That's what we're getting at. So what we're going to do is go back over to the corner and put a minnow under the cork. And because like I was saying, they're spawning in El Pasco now. I think they're spawning now. We got 61, probably 63 degrees now if Garmin's the other way. But the water temperature's now in the 60s. Don't take long to rise in Florida, but it's 61 this morning we got in here. So we've been around and around. We got a wind. The wind's blowing today. We got that going on. But I just came to myself. Okay, I'm gonna go back in this corner because I think they pushed up under the brush right there because they're spawning in there. So they every opportunity they can get something to eat, they'll do that, but they're not going to go out of their way to do it once they get into mode of spawning and sweeping the beds and stuff like that. So we're going to go back over to the corner. We're going to let the camera roll because, like I said, we've been in here a couple of hours. Keep looking at the Garmin and it's turning the other way because I'm sitting up front now, which is cool. Got the component, just haven't put it in. I was busy this week, man, in a good way because I was all up in Gainesville with a customer, man, cleaning them out, cleaning out loads of pellets. But it was real good. So, but we didn't have time to slam that in there. So we'll slam that in carefully, make sure we, everything's everything, we looked at the housing. Like I said, the housing's working good, so we don't want to burn that board up. That's, like I say, $300. When you burn it up, then it's another $300. You got to get a new one once you find out why it's burning up boards. So, you want to find that out first. We're not planning on doing that, but that's, just the thing you do. Make sure everybody's doing their thing, amp meter on everything, and the amperage is right, put the board in. All right, we're going to go up front, go to that corner, see if we can slam some more that way. And we're going to let the camera roll. Man, I was jamming too. My music, that's another thing. I had that music, man. I'm fixing to get another phone. I got 2 lines. I'm only using 1 line on my contract. So, my phone contract I can set up with 2 lines. So I turned 1 line down since my daughter is not using one of the lines. That she was using one of the lines. So now we're gonna fire that line back up so I can have the music and then we can still, film. So this is my thing I came up with. I got these 2 poles hanging off here and I still got 1 pole hanging off there. Been doing that all morning long. And right when we put in at, just to the, a little to the, looking at the lake to the right of that, last week we're picking up some good hits, man, right there. And that's where I caught the one I just showed you. I caught him over there. And I just come from over there. So now my instinct telling me, in the angling world, they're getting ready to spawn anyway. They can't wait to drop them eggs. So, I'm gonna go right back now to the weeds. And if anybody been watching these videos, they see I don't ever grab the cork poles no more. So we're gonna grab the cork poles today because we're gonna set that minnow. The whole point is to keep that minnow in their face. If they're only like 2 feet up underneath the surface, that minnow will be in their face. Because with the jigging minnow, that minnow, I can't control the drop. It's going to drop. So now we know they're getting ready to spawn, and they're probably spawning. We already got the early spawner. We talked about that. So we got some females ready, like the ones that, like I said, I cleaned them last week. They had eggs in them, so they ready to drop them eggs. That's the first run. And then you got the mid spawners. They haven't, they haven't got the row in them yet. And they'll be dropping their eggs, somewhere probably where we at now. Well, probably close to March, right at the first week or second week of March. And then the late spawning females, they'll get done probably the end of March and early April. We'll still have a good water temperature too, in Florida. We still have that good water temperature in the 60s, low 70s, and man, bam. Kind of want to be in a, for what El Pasco can provide, it'll be on fire. For what Westlake can provide as the whole congregation of the fish that they have in them, you catch them in that right place, it's gonna be on fire. And like then thank you. You go to bigger systems like Okeechobee, Tahoe. Oh man, you're wrecking. I mean, you find when you get up on them, you fill the freaking boat up. You can have 3 guys and you all limit out. So big systems like that, you all are limit out. 25 fish. I mean, I don't know what the lake provide. What the lake limit is. Some lakes are 25 and some are 50. But you will limit out once they come off the spawning and they get done with it. You found them, they still be congregated up too. And that's when you can go, you can have 3 guys on the boat, limited out 25 apiece. We're just about over there. Let me get some of these poles up, especially this one in the back. Let me just take the back pole up and probably leave them front 2 poles out. We're going to target them now with the jig, the minnow on a jig under a cork. That's what we're going to do now. I need me another pole holder right here, but what I'm gonna do with this, bravely, I'm gonna keep my eyes on it though. Like I said, I wish the Joker would come and snatch this son of a gun out. The morning I had, it's so slow, 2 fish, and been here about 2 hours, going on 3 hours. What time is it? Oh, it's 11:30, yeah. Yeah, been here about 3 hours now. What we're gonna do, I get in a position. I think I'm gonna go over there and hit that point first, and then I'll bike up. Cause the wind's blowing out of the southwest. Yeah, sort of kind of coming out of southwest, southeast. You can look in front of me and see the water smooth. That's where that wind's missing. But it's all over there windy. We'd probably go back to the other corner and try to, hit that one with the cork in the middle. So we keep it in their face. That's the deal now. For those that are still out, like we said, we got different spawning pods. Everybody ain't spawning now, so you got some that are, I like to watch them. I have an idea what they're doing. I have a great idea how they spawn, but those that are not spawning yet, the males are kind of like, on the edge, kind of protecting everything. Then you got other males that are sweeping beds. I got the beds all swept out and kind of like assisting the female to drop these eggs. Get in position here. Get that boat positioning just right. I want that bike in and go around. Come on, wind, help me out now. You want to blow that bike in around. See why? Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, see. I mean, this you couldn't do this before. Thought I had something on this one. You know, just last week, y'all already have a hit. You guys seen I was talking to you guys and was getting a hit. You know, got a hit. You know, while I was talking to you. So that tells me they're in there and they're peeping out. And this jig and minnow, you know, you got to be able to keep that thing in their face. And that minnow's swimming around on that jig. They'll come out and nail it. That's why I caught the second one that way. I caught the second one over there. And you know, it tells you stuff. You know, it's like reading a book, but you're reading the behavior of the fish. So we'll sit right here. Yeah, that wind's gonna push us on back. That's cool. And what's funny, I ain't used these babies in some time now. All right, we're too deep. We're way too deep. We're way too deep, buddy. That's okay. We'll make it shallow. And while I'm playing with this, I like to look around and see them poles bowled over. Okay, we'll start off about that. That's about 1.5 feet. We'll leave it right there. I mean, with that cloud cover and everything, that'll kind of, you know, it might brave some of them guys that ain't spawning yet out. But they kind of all assist with each. I know they assist each other. You know, the ones that are spawning them females. You know how all the girls get together. Okay, girl, you know they help her because she's ready to drop her egg, and they kind of assist her in that. Kind of like midwife type stuff. I mean, I hate to. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Boy, that's when one will come out and snatch it too. I can't even see the cork. 6 feet of water. I mean, it's right behind the motor. Wow, that's really shallow there. I'm gonna go a little deep. It's a big tooth right there. I mean, it is slow, slow, slow. Now that's what it is, boy. They preparing to spawn. They going. I mean, in the back there, there's someone. I bet you they're spawning in the back area there too. Though. It's pretty shallow back there for the parts I've been in. It's pretty shallow back there, so I'm sure they're back there spawning too. That's gonna be one of their locations. You know, it's got like probably I think the depth is about 5-6 feet, so that may be good enough depth for them. You know. Like I say, as long as it's got that food source back there too. They done already checked it out. So, got all the poles out. That's what the deal is. Back in there, cause the wind done broke us loose. I'm cool with that. I'm gonna go ahead and let it push us down. Push us down in there. Yeah. The wind will blow me in, and I'm kind of like bumping the trolling motor and pushing myself back out. Uh-oh. I thought my freaking cork was gone. What? Let's try that again. Let's try that again. Was my cork gone, or was it just my imagination? That small one, kind of like what they eat up in here. I mean, that's the spot that a couple years ago, when we was throwing corks up against here, like I was telling you last week, man, I'm in a juicy spot right there. Now what happened? You got to stay there because it takes time for them to come back out. Now the freaking wind, see what's happening now? I'm getting worked out that way now. The wind was pushing me back up in here. Now I'm getting worked back out. Boat control, I tell you, it's every freaking thing. It's everything, boy, in this game. So I gotta say, if you find a hot spot to where you can catch them on land, man, there's no beautiful way to do it. You ain't got to worry about no boat control, none of that. That ain't deep enough. That is deep. Get a little bit. Tell you right now. Let me go ahead. I got too many poles out. I done broke this, but it's my last. I love that name too. This is my last Jarvis Walker right here. 7 foot. I done caught hundreds of specks on this here rig right here. I had another one like it, but I broke the pole when I was casting. Man, I had a pair of them. I always keep a pair of everything. Like you see a pair of that. One of these cork poles. They're the same rig, the one I'm using now and that one. But the name of this pole is Jarvis Walker. I love that, Jarvis Walker. Can you imagine who that is? Jarvis Walker is an angler. It's a great pole. It's a great pole. I tell you one thing about Jarvis Walker. These eyes, unlike these eyes on this hip pole, I'm not gonna even say the name. And this is a legendary name right here. Got their name in fishing tackle, mainly for the line back in the old days, 70s, 80s. That line was a preferred line for a lot of saltwater fishermen. But man, they got a pole now with their name on it, and the eyes ain't worth the crap. The guys on it. The guys done rotten out, and I never put the pole in saltwater. Pole never touched saltwater. But the guys are gone. I had that Jarvis Walker, man. Shoot, I had that Jarvis Walker for at least 10 years. And it's still in the same shape. You know what it was when I walked out of the warehouse with it. You know, it's just 10 years old. But look at them out. Everything's in place. No, it's about 3 or 4 eyes on here need to be replaced. Gotta tell you, man, you gotta watch, you know what I mean? Like, people like this person that's got their name on there, which is a very well-known name. I'm being cool. There's anglers that'll take it to him, man, about about these guys. I mean, not one, two, three guys got problems on that pole, and I had to repair them, re-super glue them and all that. Shouldn't have to do that. Not with that name. But anyhow, now we're trying to catch some more specks here. See how it goes, how it's going right now? And that's when you, again, like I said, you start going into your department of knowledge, what you know, and what's going on right now. You know they're getting ready to spawn. And they definitely they're fed up, they're kind of feeding up to do that. That's another thing. Nothing's going on there, so you don't stay there. You don't stay around and try to make something happen. Okay, I ain't got no pole. Alright, he's got this one pole hanging up in front. I'm thinking about, I'm gonna go to the other corner over there. Go back over there. See what's going on. Yep, you put everything to work right now. I mean, yep, I was in here last week had a good bite going, and now we know that spawning time is getting close, and they're up in them grounds. I guarantee you, they're up in them spawning grounds, man. All right, we just about over to that other corner over here. Cut down. I don't want to scare them out of there. I know they're there, but I'm gonna take this baby off right here. Alrighty, getting in position here. Well, I don't think we got another cold front for a minute now. We're gonna get some more, but it's gonna probably be a break for about 2 or 3 weeks. Winds coming in, blowing out of southeast blowing me right on in here. Get this pole out the way. I think I need to change that pole. I need that thing to swivel so I can have it hanging off this part of the boat. Going in there just right. Just right. Boy, look at that bottom right there. Son of a gun. We gonna catch some more, y'all. It's just tough going. And this is what makes you a great angler right here, It ain't always easy. Inspect your specs. Specs will spoil you, I mean, you know how speck fishing can be. Like I said, when you get on top of them, they're balled up. you catch 30 or 40 or 50 of them. But then you go back next week, next week to that same area, nothing. Might catch 3 or 4 of them out of there. That's those anglers up north. Somebody experiencing this right now in the water up north. Back to them pristine lakes they got up there. Last week they crushed them. They got iPilot, live scope. They're looking. Nobody's home. I'm gonna start off with this jig and minnow first. Now you know what? I'm gonna hang this joke off the back of the boat. Can't play with them when they're not hitting like they want to. Back of the boat here. Hope that's something snatchy. Okay, he's not on the bottom. Go back up here with this guy. That's a big minnow there, buddy. Hey, guarantee us bass will hit that. I throw that out there, bass will hit that for sure. Now what's that bull crap? Let's try it that way first. Watch that guy back there, something don't snatch him. That's good that we ain't got us pinned against here, so it's not gonna weasel us out of here. Now you gotta sit and wait because they're up in there doing their thing, whether you know it or not. You can't hear anything, but they're in there. They're in there doing their thing, and they'll come out every now and then to the edge. You know how, just how, certain humans, you sneak away and go get a little snack or sneak, go get a little, little half of a sandwich or something like that. That's what they're doing. They kind of coming out to the edge, pick off a few minnows. And they're not only feeding now, they're feeding through the night. Like when you're in the bed, they're feeding heavy at night because they're nocturnal. Just about all fish are nocturnal type creatures. So they're feeding through the night big time. Now I'm about 1.5 feet right here. On that cork pole, we'll go up another 6 inches. And we'll sit there for a while. And even if they're kind of like poking their heads out a few inches, probably 5 inches below where I'm at, what I'm set at, they'll still come up and get that minnow. Yep, just one of them quiet weekends right there. Like I done already, share it with you guys. Man, they don't do anything when it's time to go in, cause that water temperature now, 64 degrees. Ain't like a fish. These extreme cold fronts that we done had the last 3 weeks, now they done sliced up. And I looked at, looking at the long range forecast, it's going to be pretty solid, stable, good weather, really good stuff. Like right now, taking that hoodie off, I'm cool now, even with my long sleeve neoprene on. That's perfect now. And the sun shining up there, it's comfortable. But the deal is, they're going to take advantage of that because, like I told you, again, I can't stress that enough. Fish I cleaned last week, had eggs in them. I said, whoa, wow. Man, they got eggs in them, so they're going to be dropping pretty soon. Well, this part of them is going to be dropping. You know, these are the early spawners. The ones that go in first. And so that's what we're looking for. So they're not out there. They're in these weeds. And that's where all the fish came from today. The two that I got came from close to the structure. So now I'm going to go a little deeper. That mill is jingling boy on that jig. I'm thinking I might be too. I'm going to go shallow first. But I know I caught the one right here earlier. I was pretty freaking bringing right up against that daggone, and let that sit there and do its thing. But sometimes they're only a foot and a half below the surface and stuff like this. Nothing happened at that depth, then we'll go deeper. Go 2 feet. We'll run it down 2 feet. That pole ain't bent back there. I'm telling you, it's quiet in here. I just knew I was going to come back and smash them in that one spot because I caught like 3 or 4 of them when I was getting ready to go in that location. Right there by where we put the boat in at. And I'm going to go deeper. Out there like that, yeah. Come on, boys. We know you're under there, girls. Yeah, this is definitely then what we done spoke about the little systems and small systems. Small systems, that's like the one out. In fact, the gates was open this morning, y'all. I'm gonna tell you something. I came by I called it late. It's Lake Mary, but then I called it Landera is where it's located at. But anyhow, I came by there today and the gate was open. Now way back in the first intro, and I told y'all the first little boat that I had for Spanx came out of that place. You know. Superintendent man about broke his neck running down there. Hey, you want that boat? You can take it, get it out of there. Go ahead, it's yours. I'll bring some people down to help you get it out. I said, hold on, man. I need to make sure I can use it, you know? And it had like somebody shot 2 holes in it with a shotgun. I said, no problem, we can fix that. And he sent people, a few people over to help me set it in the back of my truck. But when I got the boat together, I used to go in there because they were building houses. It wasn't built up yet. They probably got about maybe 150, 250 houses in there now. And when I went in there, they only had like probably 50 houses. Seriously, probably not even that. Because there were no houses but one house around the lake. I had my pick of the litter where I want to go in at, and I want to go in the best, more efficient spot that I wouldn't get, make a mistake of. I used to just, have a problem getting in there. But anyhow, I used to go in through the community. Man, they called the sheriff on me about 2 or 3 times, and now I'm in the community now, see, right? So I gotta get out of there. Okay, all right, man, all right. And so, I went back again. He said, look, man, you can't come back again. I'm about to warn you this time. He said, you're trespassing. Okay, good. Now, I went around and started doing some scouting, and there's access off the road. You could drive off the road right up to the lake. Now, those are properties that they're going to sell in the future, but right now they're vacant and they're open. There's no fence around. There's it's public access. You can drive off the road. In fact, you can see where, the kids in the neighborhood been partying overnight there. In fact, one morning, that's where I was going in at. That was my way in all the way up until they sold the property and built a house on that location. I went in one morning, there was a kid crashed in the back of his SUV, got drunk the night before and couldn't leave. I seen the SUV, I said, oh, okay, what the heck is this? So I peeked up in there, the kid was in the back, fold up, just out, man. So I went ahead and put my boat in, because you're fired up, I already know what's gonna happen. And went in there and smashed him, man. But the gate was open this morning. I'm like, yeah, nah, man. You get, boy, they had a sheriff out there so quick. And I wouldn't attempt with this boat what I did with the other little boat. The other boat was a little smaller than this, lighter, and only had the trolling motor on the back. The way I used to go in there, the drain systems that they got them in there. You see those, you kind of like, oh man, runoff could come on in here, but it's the runoff in the neighborhood on the road that come out of these drains. But anyway, the drains was wide enough to where I could bite the little boat down the drain like a boat ramp. I wouldn't put my truck on it, but I had enough ramp to bite the boat down right to the water, and still had more room to go if I wanted to. But that's how I used to get in there. Bike it carefully straight down the drain, the drain flat part of the drain, because you got the hole. You got the drain. You back over to this much, you're in the drain. Too much on that side, you're in the drain. And it was probably about 7 feet wide of a pavement between the drains. And my little boat's only about probably 5 feet wide, total, trailer and all. And I was able to back that joker straight down there, boom, push it off, go in there and smash it. But they kicked me out twice and said, hey, don't come back through this way anyway. And then I was going in off the road, and what they call that legally is public access. There's nothing that they can do about it. And when I first started going in the lake that way, they called the sheriff from me again. The sheriff came over there, hey, I was already done. I caught 30 fish, 40 fish. And they're like, hey man, look, you can't. I said, man, look, that's public access. I done already checked with your sergeants, your captain, and they all told me, can you drive off the road straight into the location? I said, yes, sir. He said, you ain't nothing we can do about it. That's public access. Unless they got a fence around it with no trespassing on it, you could go in there all you want to. We ain't nothing we can do about it. I said, well, your guys coming around there trying to kick me out. He said, oh, they can't do that. They can't do that. And they're not going to go too hard against each other, but he just said they can't do that. So don't let them bluff you. They can't do that. If they can, just to satisfy some angry little sales lady up there selling houses, to keep me out of there off the lake, I'm the only one fishing that lake. And I can guarantee you and bet your money there's nobody on that lake in a boat. Now, it could be by now, because they done seen. I remember some guy used to fish the lake. They probably get talking about me, but this one guy had a German Shepherd come out there early, 7 in the morning, let the freaking dog bark at me, man. And just old mean, old kind of person, man. Had big old house, Like, man, why you so mean? You got a big, nice house and all that crap. Won't you shut your dog up? It's nice and quiet, and I'm slamming specs. I'm beating the specs up. And in fact, one of the notorious hot spots was right behind that person's house. Me talking like this, nothing's happening. But yeah, that's one of the hottest spots right behind that person's house. I said they didn't want to see me fishing that lake, but ain't nothing they could do about it. But that was some good days, man. That was some dandy old good days right there. They say, so what's your reason for that story like that? Well, to see how I kind of laid it out and how I talk about it, because that's why I fish little systems. Little system like that one I also told you, because I done told it like, I done caught like 3 or 4 bags of 46. My biggest one was 54 in there, and then it started dropping down to 38s, caught by 3 38s out of there, and then it went on down into the 20s, and we know things are starting to get thin now. Like, hey, I think you don't assume lake control in this thing, man, or population control. Boy, I was wrecking them in there, man. I tell you what, I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't care to clean that many specs no more. 54, Man, I had like 100 bags. I had like 80 bags of specs loaded all up in the freezer. There was no spec shortage at my house. All right, y'all, we need to catch one. I wasn't gonna film at all, but we just thought we'd get some footage on how it goes. 1 week you catch it, next week you don't. Let's go further back up in there. Let's see what happens. That was funny though. See, that gate was open. I already said, hey, it ain't worth it, man. I mean, I wouldn't even, like again, I wouldn't put this boat in that way anyway, so. And it's a whole different place now than what it was. Come on, smash that thing, one of you. I'm just about in there. Wow. That pole ain't bent right there, daggone. Now see, now this right here is what gets you for a loop. Now they could be in these locations like over there where, like I said, I was picking them up over there on my way when I was getting ready to shut down last weekend. I mean, I was dropping the bait down to the bottom to get, you know, the fish, to get the depth. You know, it's 11 feet there, so I was gonna fish about 8 or 9. And bam, something hit it then, and I caught one. It's on film, you know, it's on the film. Well, I thought that thing was gone. You get desperate too, boy. I mean, the bite gets slow. I mean, anything, you ready to snatch it up. Well, they got me in there right there. Whoa, something big behind that freaking pole. Don't grab that pole, whatever you do. That's probably a guard. That was probably a guard. That was a big one. Yeah, as long as you got public access to a place, nothing they can do about it. Yeah, we got that other corner over there. Yeah, y'all. I mean, it is gopher turtle slow, boy. I mean, that bite disappeared this week. And I know what the deal is. They getting ready. They're in the spawning area. They're up in here. Like, you know, they done fed up through the night. They ain't just feeding on the day. They done fed up through the night. Probably when they feed the most. And you got it. For this little system I love fishing on El Pasco, this little system here, and that's nature too. I mean, you know, nature know how to cut them off to where, no, you can't catch them. You're not going to catch a lot of them. Not today. And like I tell you, even in big systems right now, somebody up north, right here in Florida, it's hard to, you know, the bite is hard. It's a tough bite. It's not the bite they had just last week. They're smashing. Told the buddy about it, man, I'm smashing. I got him right on him. I mean, come on, man, let's go get him this weekend. He gets over there. They catch probably 1 or 2 here. One, he said, man, last week he wouldn't catch it on 1 or 2. Every time you threw in, man, that freaking thing was gone, you know. And I can't imagine where they moved to. And then you got to go search them out. There we go, y'all. There we go. That's a big fish there. Ain't no speck. That's a bass. That's a bass. That ain't no speck. That's a speck. That's a smoker. Come on out here, son. Boy, he fighting. He fighting. Come on out of there, big boy. Hold on. And that's that nasty bin. And see how relaxed I am when you know your tackle. That's another thing I'm telling y'all. You ain't even worrying about it. Nasty bin got it. That's that nasty bin, man. All right, big guy, come on in here. Don't let him put that nasty bin in your hand. Y'all will see me. Well, you won't see. Y'all won't see me scream and cry like a 5-year-old because I'll be determined if I'm gonna upload that or not. Right there in the top of the mouth. Look at that nasty bin. And I'm gonna tell you, look at that nasty bin, man. Nasty bin don't. And when that nasty bin goes in, nasty bin don't play. Nasty bin got a hooking attitude. You know what I'm saying? It reaches out and grab fish. You know, when it grabs that fish, that's it. The fish knows it's done. And you see how he fought just now. He just like, man, he got me. You hit that nasty bin, buddy. That's a nasty bin in your mouth, in your top lip. I'm gonna invite you to the old fry tonight, man. It's hard to come by. That's a nice one too. Yeah, that'll amp the old fry up right there. You know what? I tell you what. That's what I love about the design of this little boat right here, man. You got that, you know, especially if you know, females love to relax, so you can relax just like a little bench seat. That's what it is. Got the little cushion on the back there, and yeah, you can. Then I'm right here. If you really smashing them, this the place to be right here. Hell, your buddy right there because he have to get up and come put his fish in there. All you got to do is lift that up, put the specs in there, and get back there, boom. When you really on them, that's what it'll be. There goes another one. All you got to do is lift and just not get out your seat. Yeah, man, was jumping out my hand. Wow. Alright, I think I'm probably about, I guarantee it don't take long on that phone camera. I'm about probably 60 minutes in already, so, you know, I'm glad you guys was able to see me catch something. I would have invited you to this morning to see me catch them other 2 specks, but we're going to see if we can snatch one more out of here right quick. And call it a day. I'm gonna go on and study this, you know, get this test it all, make sure it's drawing the amperage it's supposed to draw before we stick that freaking unit in there. You don't want to burn that, baby. You burn any electronics. Remember that. Automotive, marine, pretty much home appliance, parts. When you take it out the bag, that's it, it's yours. But and then most games, when they hand you the receipt, deal's over. They may take a return. I mean, you know, you're right there. You know, like I was able to send that housing back. You know, as long as you ain't bust, you know, because I didn't even bust the bag. So, we go again. Yeah, but the deal is when you install it, it's yours. It's guaranteed yours. Don't worry about it, it's yours. You want to make sure everything's right. Well, I learned a lesson because I was glad I was able to turn the housing back. Now, all my air conditioning and electronic knowledge is, you know, it comes up to play. I ain't playing games. I'm gonna check everything, make sure the amperage is right. Everybody, you know, the housing is drawing the amp it's supposed to draw. It ain't drawing too much amp, because if it draws too much amp from the board, that's what burns the board up in the first place. So we're gonna make sure that housing is doing, you know, drawing the amperage. There's no kind of shortage going on. I mean, or either a drain, or, I mean, something just getting ready to go bad and it's drawing a lot of amp. Because when it goes bad, then it requests more. It just starts, you know, that's what messes the system up. It just requests more amperage and than what the board supplies. And there you go. I like that cloud couple like that. That'll kind of trigger them to come out too. But like I said, they're setting up to spawn. I think we just had a full moon, so they're waiting on the next one. Well, I was sure hoping that was a spec, man. Gee whiz, that would have been a nice slab. That would have probably been a 2-pounder the way that thing was. I'm 2 feet down, that bass took that, so. That was a nice take. Come on, give me one more before I tell the people goodbye. No, I ain't really got to work it that much, because that minnows on that jig dancing around, doing taking care of business and getting the attraction. I can't believe this pole ain't going off right here, boy. I mean, they ain't snuck back there and grabbed that pole. Something else right there. Let me check on them. As soon as you leave, man, boom, barber's gone. See what we're looking at anyway. Yep, we're right there near the 60 minutes. See if we can catch one for y'all real quick, cause it is slow, y'all, and this is spawning. They getting ready to drop them eggs, and they done got in their respectable places. And they're dropping them. I mean, we just had a full moon, so they're dropping that the first run of them they dropping them eggs. Yeah. So yep, that's why I love the little systems. You know, I like to find me another little fertile type system, you know, that been overlooked, you know, ignored. Good depth, good structure into it. Good, you know, easy access, not too easy for everybody. I mean, not being selfish, but that's the kind of places, you know, it's hard to find now. You know, but the best thing, one of my techniques, and you know, like I shared it with you before, is you know, it's bittersweet. Construction, building everywhere, tearing everything down, whatever. Sets, you know, acres of woods, whatever they can get their hands on. But they also open up some nice private fishing areas. You know, that was farm lakes that been private for ancient years. You know, I mean, let's say, you know, a good few decades or more. You know, now that farmer done sold that land, and man, sits on it is about a 10-acre lake, full of big slabs. See what I'm saying? And nice structure around that thing, man. I think they call that tree the dog tree. It's a dog tree, you know. Now it got the little blooms on there. It blooms first, like these ones that right here. They go some of them right here. And specs love to get up under them trees and you know, do their spawning in there and stuff like that in the right territory. But yeah, that's what I look for though. I mean, that's what that's what I love. Like, see, I got this for myself, and when it's hot, it's hot. So and like I talk about the Landry over there, where the lake on the milk called Lake Mary, where I snatched, caught all them bags out, big bags out of there. So that's one thing about, catching big bags. I know what that's like. And that was something, I could look at. That's about 4 or 5 years ago when I fished the place, at least 5 years ago, probably more. Probably, about 6, 7 years ago, y'all, at least. But when I was doing it, everything was right. I come home and clean 46 fish. Come home and clean 38 fish. And I remember I cleaned that 54. I never was so happy to see that last fish in that cooler. Man, finally, golly. I mean, even with the electric knife, it's a lot of fish to clean, So 25, no problem. I take 25 all day long. But if I'm catching them and I got 25, I know I got 25. You're gonna see me, look, I got about 25, I'm good. I try to clean 30 and 40 fish unless, there was an event coming up. We know we're going to do an event, and then it's on, and then I'm going to have somebody else that also can fillet real well, and we're filleting them up together, so you got that help. But right now, Kentech Sniper, happy with 25 or less. Yeah, it's one of them days, man. Not a bad day, because it's always great to be on the water. Take a break from out there in the public land. Being out there in the everyday society there. Get off out here. Chased them around this morning into the afternoon here. And man, I tell you, that looked like a bite right there waiting on us. Just right. Dang, that looks good, right? I might have to hold, man. Wow. I know there's a big slab sitting down right there. When you're doing this bobbing like I'm doing now, you just feel that thump. That's nice. And when it's spec take it, they don't let go. They do not let go. And go on and smash that thing. And see, I had that pole sitting out there, and I tell you, I mean, I'm not gonna, you say they're in there. Well, I know they're in there. They're pushed back, and they're just probably sitting back, and they're not in the mood. They don't need to feed. They fed last night, and in the daytime, they're sitting there doing their business. I seen an eel today too, right here where we're fishing at now. I knew it was all kinds of stuff in here. He came up looking like a moccasin, but you ain't gonna see no water moccasin right now. This water way too cold for those guys. You could walk up to a moccasin now and grab him and pick him up and look at him. He just be all, man, you're lucky, dude. It's not freaking summertime. I ought to zap you before you got up on me. And you could pick them up if you find them. If you happen to come across them, they're gonna be in an area close to probably a hollowed out cypress tree or something. And what that ought to be one up in there, golly. I'm all in your house, in your living room. And they'll come out and get some sun to get that body temperature up, to make it on through the night. And that's all they come out to do. And I might carry them for 3 or 4 days, and you won't see them for 3 or 4 days. They're fed up. Same with them. They got fat on some stuff, and it'll carry them for, you know, a month, and then they'll probably feed up on hit a bullfrog again when it warms up enough to where they can kind of, you know, got that sun up there. They get that sun will get them loose, radiated. Bam, they'll feed, get them a good dinner, and then get back into that hollow log through the winter time. They do that through the whole winter. Now those guys up north, the same thing, but boy, they don't eat anything. They don't eat anything. And I'm saying it like that, I'm gonna tell you something. You prowling around in the woods in late spring, we're back in the 80s and the 90s, you got not mad, pissed off moccasins, cottonmouths out there, because they ain't ate in 2 or 3 months, especially up north. So you better stay out of their way. Don't mess with them. I mean, if you know what you're doing and you see somebody that know what they're doing and mess with them, look at how pissed off they are. Man, I've been hibernating for 3 to 4 months. Leave me alone, man. Leave me alone. I mean, he's jumping around, boy. How I got on that? Oh, we got on that with that eel. Yeah. We seen that eel, man. I mean, he swam right on into there, you know. I'm like, dang, a freaking eel. I knew it was some. I ain't surprised. I knew it was something like that in here. Big salt shells up in here, gators up in here. Done seen the gators. We know there's some daggone alligator turtles up in here. You don't see them because they stay low and they do their little feeding. They're nocturnal. Everybody in the animal kingdom is pretty much nocturnal. And you know, you got wading birds. I mean, they both. But for the most part, you know, in the water system, man, shoot. You got some snapping turtles in this here deal right here. I know I would have been hit right here. Well, I'm all up in the mess, y'all, right here. I'm up in this little mess. I'm not making that noise. I'm just talking lightly. And it's just the bite that I was going to get, I already got. And in the speck bite, boy, I'm going to go a little deep. I'm going to hit the bottom and wind up on it. Okay, I hear you, boy. I hear the bullfrog over there. That's a big bullfrog, too, man. God dog. See what I'm talking about? I know them guys I just got finished talking about could love to have him in their mouth. That's a big boy. You ain't talking to me, are you? Can y'all hear him? And I'm over here talking to y'all, forgot about the cork pole. But ain't nobody touched it. And ain't no metal on this guy. Alrighty. Got him up. While we over here, hang tight. All right, y'all. We done hit the corner that we normally start off in when we get in Pasco. We done been all over this place several times. And we got what we got. Got 2 specks, bass, and that was it. I mean, you know, I had a few other little bites that didn't take, but yeah, they're in that position now. Like we talked about, when they're in that position, they're not too much touching anything. They're not touching anything. They're preparing. They're gonna bad scare me up in there, man. I got the jitters. But they're not touching anything until they come out of there. The first, and that's how you're gonna get them. The first part of them, when they come out, they're hungry, and then the other ones waiting to get in position and to go in there and do the same thing, you know. And this bite is ghost. I mean, it's shut down. I done hit all over just anywhere I could think of, and yeah, they're in that mode now. So, you know, you come back next week, smash them, and we might do that too. But you know, Westlake too. I love them pretty babies coming up out of there. Probably go over there and hit that. But yeah, the bites go, y'all. I'm fixing to get out of here, and go and get into some other good stuff. But you know, yeah, they're spawning. That's good. They doing that thing. They up and they push back up in the weeds, and you get, you know, you have a few, you know, wanderers out here, you know, and then that's high noon now, so you know they really shut them down. And then you come back here in 4 or 5 hours from now, as the sun drop, it'll blow your mind. You know, to do stuff like that just to kind of show how this, they operate, and how they, you know, they just, you know, at certain times they're feeding and eating all your minnows or your jigs up, and then that certain point in time, and they just, you know, they shut down. And that's just the way it is. That's fishing. And then, like I say, you can smash them in this, you know, one spot, come back to that same spot next week, they don't move. And Specs are famous for that. All right, y'all, I'm gonna shut it down and get up out of here. You guys like, share, and subscribe. You know, drop a comment if you got one. Well, that bass angry, and but he's going to the fish fry. And you know, drop a comment if you got one, and stay tuned. Next episode, like Kentech Sniper say, we'll see you on the water. Y'all have a good one.